in a particular federal state or province. Provinces are competing. When Abu Dhabi builds a big skyscraper, Dubai will bring Burj Khalifa. When Al Ain does this, you know, in the end, the country ends up developing. In Nigeria, you don't need to go to, if you are in Lagos, you are contented. You don't need to go to Abuja. You don't need to go to Kumasi. So,
Kumasi is in Ghana. You have run out of time. Thank you, Mr. Bulira. As you can imagine, it is going to be a very heated conversation. And if I do jump in, my credentials might permit me to do that. On to the next candidate. Let's look at Mr. Joseph Mabidizi. Quick question, Mr. Mabidizi. Are you familiar with the Malabo Declaration? Could you kindly switch on your mic? Are you familiar with the Malabo Declaration?
So many declarations has been done.
That is a yes or no question.
So which one do you mean exactly?
Malabo Declaration, Africa Union. Are you familiar with the Abuja Declaration?
Which one in particular? Because several of them, there are several which has been done.
I wouldn't want you to
talking about the climate one. Are you talking about which one are you talking about?
Okay, let's talk about agriculture. A declaration was made where 10% of revenues going through this fiscal plan when it comes to spending of any nation that is privy to the African Union spends 10% of their revenue on agriculture. As you can imagine, Uganda does not do that. That being said, what would you do in your first few months as president of Uganda to fix that?
We have a very big plan about agriculture infrastructure, where we want to encourage much of small-scale industry, where people can use simple machines in agriculture.
Like hoes?
When I talk about simple machines, I know even a hoe falls under that, but there are other machines which are not big tractors, and those ones which are operated just with small engines, and those ones which are operated manually, just push them. So there are so many. So I'm not talking about only a hoe.
I'm very confused. Now we talked about combine harvest. I'm very confused. Going back to plowing with oxen, which one is it? Give me something concrete.
They are tractors, but now I'm talking about the simple machines which use these simple engines, which are affordable. They don't consume a lot of fuel, and they are being used in Malaysia. So you can use Malaysia, because for me that's where I saw them. So that's what I'm talking about, that once we trade that and bring it into our nation, we would have helped a lot in agriculture.
But you're addressing something different, because what this declaration say is to have 10% of your GDP.
I understand your question. Give me time to answer.
Please go.
If you want me to answer your way, then it's something else.
Please proceed.
I have my way, and I can pass either way to answer. So you want me to give the answer you have? That's my way to answer. So, you know, I told the person who contacted me that let me hope you are taking me into a debate, not something like questioning you. Then you answer this, someone asks another question to take you off. So, what I was saying, there is a need to get that into that modernization agriculture, where we need to import simple machines to empower agriculture sector from the regions. And once you've empowered all the regions, having shared the power, responsibility, where the regions, they are also responsible for collecting taxes, and after collection of taxes, they only give 40% to the central government. Then 60% remains in the region. So the regional governments, they are responsible to institute and put into practice what fits their region according to agriculture. So it will be the responsibility of the regions sitting and deciding. Even what the declaration aimed at may be less. Each region will decide according to the need of that region. That's what we call shared power. It's not about only one person dictating that things should move in this direction or the other direction. That will be the responsibility of the regional governments.
Makes sense. Thank you.
All right, as we do go on, be reminded that our first theme of the night is youth unemployment and economic reset. This is where we'd like to turn to Honorable Robert Chagonani Sentable, the one who has quite a large youth following. These are young boys and girls who need technical skills that are primarily scarce in our country right now. We look to training, we look to education, vocational education, and we also look to tertiary education that is still by and large weak. And also the digital economy is leaving so many people behind. From what you have seen in the many days you have been all over this country, if you were to become president, what immediate reforms will you use to drive an overhaul in Tibet, and then also build real digital skills and ensure that the young person you have been meeting on this campaign trail is actually not locked out of the future?
Thank you very much. And I'm glad you mentioned that indeed we've been traveling all over the country. For me, this is more realistic than idealistic. These are not just statistics, these are realities. These are people who've been there, and in every urban town we've seen hundreds of young people that show up, that are desperate, they're strong, they're talented, they want to work, but these are young people that have been failed by a system. It should be noted that Uganda is ranked the most entrepreneurial country in Africa. However, the young people are being failed because 70% of the small businesses that are started do not live to complete one full year. They However, the young people are being failed because we're going to leverage the manufacturing sector and most importantly, the creative industry. Now, having come from the creative industry, I know the potential of the creative industry. Uganda is equally as talented as Nigeria, or even more talented. But looking at the Nigeria's creative industry, it is almost outcompeting the oil industry. In fact, they call it the new oil because it is largely seen as even more engaging and more incorporating of young people, of the ordinary citizen, than the oil sector. Now, our plan is as follows. First, we want to empower and support the small, medium enterprises and the cottage industries. Now, for the benefit of our voters out there, cottage industries are the small scale industries, mainly in homesteads that are majoring in production. These, we must understand, looking at the growing economies of the world, these have been the unsung heroes of these growing economies. China, India, Brazil, name it. So, looking at these examples, we think it can be a benefit in Uganda. I'm looking at areas, especially these that are near borders, like Arua, like Chisoro, like Kabale. If they are supported, they could boost even production, and they could even boost export. Looking at production of textiles.
When you say supported, what does that mean?
Supported means cutting down, reducing the cost of doing business, reducing the power costs, reducing the cost of money, reducing the interest rates, investing in transport infrastructure. This would make it easier for them and it would boost them. Also, it's important to mention that in this line, we want to boost production. In our manifesto, we presented our school feeding program where the government is going to be feeding children at school. Now, the people that are going to be supplying these foodstuffs are going to be the ordinary citizens. And in a new Uganda, the government will work with the parent teachers associations, the PTA, to ensure that they identify not only the most vulnerable, but also the most trusted and competent suppliers, the eggs, the wheat, the rice, the flour, to feed the children. This way, we're going to be able to support even the small producers, the women, and the ordinary people out there. We believe that this is not only going to boost education, but it's going to help in youth unemployment. We also intend to modernize our skills development.
Your time is spent, but I'm going to allow you a minute. You have made recognition of manufacturing and tourism. These are high level in terms of strategic for any presidential candidate. Leaders have been describing it as Uganda's economic growth. However, there's one structural problem that still hinders both sectors right now, and that is unreliable power supply and high electricity costs. What's your solution?
Well, the high electricity costs can be renegotiated. As government, we can go as far as renegotiating with Bujagari to ensure that the power comes down, because that is what is going to help the productivity. There's one thing also talk about, that's the exploitation. The current government prides will be president.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Let's move on to candidate Nandala Mafabi. I've been going through your manifesto, which is quite fascinating. There's something that you mentioned, cooperative-led agro-industrialization. You're familiar with that. And here you do target tea fertilizers at 30%. Explain to me how this sizzles into working on the youth unemployment problem in the country.
Thank you so much. First of all, Uganda is an agricultural country, so it's an agrarian economy. And the youth we have currently, if I give you an example, most of them are living in schools, or they have dropped out of school, but they don't have land. They cannot be able to go on the land to till it. But agriculture employs about 80% of Ugandans. Now, as a government, which should be serious government, should ensure that Ugandan citizens are employed. We're looking at skilling the youth, and we skill them in what you have. For example, we skill them in agriculture, we skill them in construction, we skill them even in ICT. Now, if you skill them in agriculture, that means you are trying to modernize agriculture. And if you're going to modernize agriculture, this youth will be employed in those sectors. I can tell you agriculture can go ahead to employ the biggest number of people. What do you do there? You produce what we call agro-processing. And if you go for agro-processing, those are industries and related industries. And when you bring agro-processing, the youth who have studied or who have not even unskilled ones, but you can skill them, will go and work in agro-processing. And that's creating jobs. And I can assure you the biggest now where we can create jobs currently is in agro-processing, in the agriculture. And Uganda has an advantage, as I said, God has given us the best weather. You can grow anything. Now, for example, here we used to have 4 cash crops, and the cash crop meant where we used to get cash. That was coffee, cotton, tea, and tobacco. And the cotton you are raising, it is called, the cotton is called white gold. Now, what has happened? You talked about tea. The tea is called magnetic money. Now, the tea, you see, right now as we speak, the soils which have been growing tea have been taken to do other things. But why we're talking about fertilizers, you need to boost that land to grow more tea. And currently, even the tea which they are growing, there's a lot of debt which they have not paid farmers. And the farmers are getting discouraged. A good government should not make farmers get discouraged. What should be there should be a mechanism whereby if there's overproduction, you have stores, that is called silos. You must be the one, be the catalyst leading the marketing processes. You must be the one even trying to call incubator industries, whereby you can create an industry and hand over. I'll give an example. I deal in fear. Total Uganda, which was, I think, an international policy, they came with a policy of saying younger dealers. What they did, they would give a young man or young lady a petrol station to run, but they would give him fuel to run that petrol station. They would be deducting the margins, but leaving him or some money. Give him a period of about 3 years. They say you must exit, so that they bring another new dealer. And the purpose was to train them how to manage business. Many of them got out and have built their own petrol station. They're up there. If government of Uganda did the same, to do incubation like that, whereby we pattern, even with the private sector. Another example I can give in the next way. If a company employs disabled people, it gets the tax deductions from all this tax. If government of Uganda wants the youth to be employed, they will be employed. How? You go and say, you employ this youth in agriculture, you will have the following. 1, tax exemption or reduced tax. 2, you will be given some facilities because the youth will be working and earning a living. The tax deduction and what you are giving is creating the young man or young lady to be employed. I can tell you, agriculture is one of the places we should invest more money whereby we can have our youth employed. You talked about...
I know you're running out of time. I just want you to touch on this, right? Having worked for the World Bank, Rwanda does a very good job in Nyungwe with the tea processing. How would you use that example to address that? I just want you to help us on that. That's actually a positive, because I'm listening to a lot of sense here.
Come again?
Rwanda is growing a lot of tea in the Nyungwe plantations, and you, having worked in the World Bank, I know you use a lot of case studies. How would you use some of their examples with your experience to make the tea plantations better here?
Are you aware the Rwanda copied our proposal, which was made by Uganda?
This is why I want
So I'm trying to say that what Uganda is very good at writing proposals, but not good at implementing them. I am trying to tell you that this what I'm raising can be done. Tea can generate money, tea can generate jobs. Because I'm saying that when first of all, the tea farmers will get money. The processors will get money. The transporters will get money. What I'm trying to say that if our target is to invest in tea, which we are putting in our manifesto, those tea growing areas will we have talked about subsidizing fertilizers, putting, you see factories, when you're trying to do a factory, you lead. Because a person going to the bank to borrow money is more expensive. But the government can put a factory and hand it over and tell these people after a particular time, you will have paid the factory for and go away. Currently in our country, I will give an example. There's a gentleman who was involved in the tea industry. What he did, even borrowed money from a money lender. You know Uganda now is being led by money lenders. What happened, the cost became high. He took my minutes. Please.
Kindly, yeah.
He took my minutes. Listen to me. So when he could not pay, of course, there was a lot of loss. Our country has been done in such a way that cost of capital is too high. And because even the reason why cost of capital is high is because of government. The biggest borrower is government. So it crowds private credit. And so when someone goes to the commercial bank to borrow, they will say no money, or they give you at an expense, maybe with more conditions. Now what I'm trying to say, in the tea sector, if me become the president, I will tell you that it will be a deliberate effort to put industries, to put processes, so that credit, which should have been somebody going there, will be given by government beyond leading it, so that we create jobs in that sector. Fertilizers will be given on subsidies. And I can assure you the tea sector is the best now, because initially we had 4 of them, 4 ranking in. Tea can even overtake coffee. But of course, coffee is still high. In the current situation now, it is coffee followed by tea. Now we're getting a lot of money from tea, but also the marketing process are being driven wrongly. Government should lead in this process. I can assure you, I believe tea will create jobs and will make our youth be employed.
All right, thank you so much. Staying matters agriculture, our national anthem does pride in our agriculture backbone, good climate and fertile soils. Gregory Mugisha Muntu, many households are remaining in the subsistence economy right now as we speak, mostly in subsistence agriculture. You do have the standing current government prioritizing agro-industrialization, manufacturing with the incumbent, ensuring that there's a spread out of business and investment parks across the country. But there's also the element of tourism, construction, trade that are low-hanging fruits. Oil and gas, we've been promised that next year it should be bearing us some fruits. There's also works and transport. All these to acknowledge that there's a high failure rate of youth-owned businesses without systematic support in those particular sectors. How do you intend to actually ensure that there's policies, that there's public investment, that there's procurement that is geared towards ensuring that the young people's uptake into these sectors is one that will help them leapfrog from the statistics we know of?
The measure of development of any country must be reflected in the development of the people first and foremost. In Uganda, where 70% of the population is in agriculture, fisheries and crop, as well as the dairy industry, you have to focus to lift those people from the levels at which they are. And one of the things which is absolutely sad right now is that there was a total breakdown of extension services. And also, credit is very expensive. Other than PDM, which is touted all over the place, which is only 1 million, it cannot help farmers who want to invest. One, raising money for quality seeds, buying fertilizer in areas where you find that soils have got depleted, and then buying pesticides for spraying of crops, and also the use of machinery, either tractors or ox plows, that requires capital. And most of these peasants don't have access to capital, and our cooperative unions were literally broken down. It is very amazing that there is actually one fund. It is small, it's not big, the agricultural credit facility, which is given by Bank of Uganda through commercial banks. In the 74 districts where I've gone, I have asked in about 8. It's only in one district of Nwaya where only 2 people raised their hands who were aware of such existence of such a fund. Now you can imagine, this is an agricultural country. There is a regime which touts PDM, which is on 1 million. And yet the fund which could have helped those who are in agriculture would go into agro-processing. People are not aware of it at all. And it's at 12% per year. Farmers cannot survive on borrowing from commercial banks or borrowing from SACCOs at 30%, 35% and above. It simply can't happen. And therefore we propose to increase agricultural credit and expand it and sensitize people, and also ensure that we either direct or working with the private sector to establish tractor hire services in areas where they still have large chunks of land. That is only in Lango, Acholi, Teso, where you find peasants who still have, or subsistence farmers who still have about 10, 15, 20 acres. Now, the other areas where people are still on about 1 acre, 2 acres, that's a totally different approach that will be used. And there also needs to be cheap credit in terms of low interest rate, long-term repayment period for agro-processing. Because agro-processing, once you establish industries successfully and expand them, they become a market for those who are in subsistence farming. And also in the area of tourism, low-hanging fruit. But Uganda is one of the countries in the region which doesn't advertise Uganda or market Uganda. I think the countries which aggressively market the countries is Tanzania, Kenya, and Rwanda. Uganda has entries about 1.2 million tourists who come in. Kenya, Tanzania has about 2.5. If Uganda was able to advertise itself, considering the beauty of this country and so many opportunities that there are in terms of tourism, and increase that rate from 1.2 to possibly about 5 million people, the employment and the levels of opportunity that there would be, those who would be expanding the beds in the country, those who would invest into cottage industries, because that would also be a market for agriculture and those who are agro-processing. If you get like 4 million tourists coming into this country, a great market for those, someone who is producing yogurt, someone who is growing carrots and cabbages, someone who is packing rice, someone who is all nature of things. Uganda has not, I think they are sleeping on the job when it comes to tourism in that regard, this regime. It will be our intention to ensure that we fully exploit the area of tourism, because it's not called a low-hanging fruit for nothing, because investment doesn't take a long time. Marketing itself, once you have skilled advertising, Ugandans, there are so many Ugandans who are skilled in marketing, we can increase the tourist entries significantly in a 5 years' time, and it will be a very big area for employment of the youth.
In your ANT manifesto 2026-2031, you are also very big about monitoring and evaluation of the manifesto you would have put out should you become president come 2026. What would be the indicators of success for the things that you have mentioned, particularly increasing the agriculture credit and also creating markets beyond our borders?
One of the things that we really want to target and aggressively pursue is the area of corruption. We consider it as public enemy number one, because we lose 10 trillion Uganda shillings. That's about 2.7 billion United States dollars. And if you tackle first and foremost grand corruption, you know, where there are contracts for roads, contracts for water, contracts for energy facilities, where there are hundreds of millions of dollars which are lost, and you crack down, because we in our own party, we believe that if we dedicate effort in a span of 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you can reduce the loss through corruption of 2.5 billion. You can save about 70-80% of that. Reinvest it into the sectors which are needed: education, health, and also areas like I've already talked about, like in tourism. One, education, it may take a little bit of time to bear the results, but it's the highest form of wealth for any country that wants to develop. Because we are clearly aware that even countries which have nothing, not even one single mineral, when they invested in education, high quality education, skilling their labor force, and of course with good political management of those systems in such countries, some of them have developed. Example we keep giving is Japan. Now consider here, if you invest in good education, invest in having a healthy workforce, and also invest in agriculture, having food security, and also having citizens who are well fed. When you have those, plus the mineral potential which we have, and good political management, the sky is the limit for this country.
And the sky is the limit for your time. Thank you so much, Gregory Mugisha Muntu. We're going to take a short break. As we do so, please be reminded the hashtag that we are running with is NTV Presidential Debate 2025. And we are running on NTV as well as Spark TV, and we are streaming live across the social media platforms, mainly X as well as TikTok and Facebook and our website. Now, there is a poll that is running. Which part of the debate is interesting you the most? There's finance and economic growth, there's health and education, there is also security and governance, infrastructure development. Now, just to extract a few comments that are coming in from our online audience, thanks NTV for preparations. Page 35 Manifesto 4.2 Clean Water for All National Unity Platform shows interest of reducing the cost of 20 litres to 10 shillings. And there's a question there on the possibility in an economy where 50 shillings is no longer in circulation. There's also one that has commented here, WAPS on X says, what are the specific national laws, regulations and doctrine that a government that has power can actually use to ensure that there's a security, particularly regarding the arrests, the detentions, and the use of force and the such that is happening. Basically, what we have been seeing in the most recent days as far as security and stability is concerned. We also do have Waha on X when he says, when the economy is stable, security will have the funds for defense, education will be funded, infrastructures will be built, and the health will have enough drug supply, meaning the well-being of the citizens, boosting the growth of all sectors. At the end of the day, he believes that economy is the key for him. Thank you so much for your voices. Keep them coming. We take a short breather. We return shortly.
You got Glovo. You got Glovo. If you're having a celebration, you got Glovo. You can order what you want, you can get what you need. You got Glovo. You got it all. You got Glovo.
Download the app, order with Glovo, track it minute by minute until you receive it in minutes.
Your voice counts and matters as we move toward
In 2024, Uganda recorded 37,000 new HIV infections and 20,000 AIDS-related deaths, a situation that calls for collective efforts if the country is to achieve its target of ending AIDS by 2030.
Somebody infecting another person. So there's no way you can say men cannot be infected, only women can be infected. So from the simple fact that people can infect one another, there's no logic in saying that only women should test. It should be everybody. It's just logical.
Together, we can end AIDS in Uganda. Every second counts. Let's act now. This message is brought to you by Uganda AIDS Commission, Office of the President.
omukisa guukuno gwa kibunomu anti-spactive ng'ejaguza emyaka 10 nga tuli wamu ne Park and Go tugenda kutwala abantu abanewangulira omukisa guno Mombasa, Kenya bawummule bubanyumirwe nga buli kimu kisasuliddwa tugenda ku beach anti-spactive ng'aweza emyaka 10. Okuwangulira olugendo luno sasula 2,000 ng'okozesa MTN Momo ku merchant code emu49 noti 83 oba ku Airtel Money ng'okozesa merchant code emu6 noti. Teekamu Mombasa nga reference yo. Buli wasasula 2,000 ezo n'emikisa gyo gyeyongere gy'okuwangula kuba baweetabye mu kalulu. Twende Mombasa with Back and Go Tours and Travel.
Ng'erungamizibwa National Lotteries and Gaming Regulatory Board. Amateeka n'obukwakkulizo bigobererwa.
Beautiful, soft care pads. So fit, so right. Everyone knows me as Zari, the boss lady. Often people wonder how I take good care of my baby. There's only one answer: soft care. I trust soft care. It leaves her comfortable, keeps her happy and free all day. Soft care is made from natural cotton, newly developed triple-layered absorbent system, magic tapes and elastic waist protects baby at all times.
Over 18 years, Soft Care has been sold in over 10 countries in Africa.
Join our big family of Soft Care, the best choice for your baby. Soft Care.
So many colors, so many shades of excitement. It's Plascon Paint and Win, the Colors of Excitement edition. Simply buy Plascon Paint worth 100,000 shillings or more. Get a scratch card. SMS the code to 7197 for a chance to win exciting prizes. 1 million shillings daily, tuk-tuks, borders, instant prizes, and an additional shelf 3 million shillings weekly. Terms and conditions apply. Plascon, color your world.
Your voice counts and matters as we move to
Today is a good day to draw up a new day. So start something. Make your move and get in your groove. Do it for the ground. Turn on your lights. Tusker lights.
Everyone knows me as Zari, the boss lady. Often people wonder how I take good care of my baby. There's only one answer: soft care. I trust soft care. It leaves her comfortable, keeps her happy and free all day. Soft care is made from natural cotton, newly developed triple-layered absorbent system, magic tapes and elastic waist protects baby at all times.
Over 18 years, Soft Care has been sold in over 10 countries in Africa.
Join our big family of Soft Care, the best choice for your baby. Soft Care.
So many colors, so many shades of excitement. It's Plascon Paint and Win, the Colors of Excitement edition. Simply buy Plascon Paint worth 100,000 shillings or more. Get a scratch card. SMS the code to 7197 for a chance to win exciting prizes. 1 million shillings daily, tuk-tuks, borders, instant prizes, and an additional shelf 3 million shillings weekly. Terms and conditions apply. Plascon, color your world.
Today is a good day to draw up a new day. So start something. Make your move and get in your groove. Do it for the ground. Turn on your lights. Tusker lights.
Elevate your experience at Protea Hotel by Marriott Kampala Skies. Wake up to breathtaking city views from our luxurious suites. Indulge in sumptuous buffets and world-class cuisine. Host seamless events in our spacious conference facilities and toast to the skyline with signature cocktails. For unforgettable stay, visit Protea Hotel by Marriott Kampala Skies.
New Tusker Premium Cider. Crisp, delicious apples crushed and blended to create a unique taste explosion.
Your
tema utalema kemenyota erinda kebera jokoro wangula ebirabo kakasa luvimbo awangula yava mudiro kaba kemenyota tema kemenyota kaba kemenyota kakasa luvimbo.
Temenyonta and win. Buy and drink any 300 ml Mirinda, Pepsi, 7-Up, Mountain Dew, or Evervest. Check under the ground and stand a chance to win from drones, Noah's, cash, border borders, flat screens, and so much more. This promotion is valid for a limited time only. Terms and conditions apply.
Ng'olina Momo oba olina obuyinza okusasula biiru zo mu ngeri esingayo obwangu wonna w'oli ng'okozesa essimu yo nyiga star 165 *# oba scanninga kodi o downloadinga Momo app osasule amazzi amasannyalaze TV school fees n'ebirala bingi nyangu nnyo etaasa obudde bwo sikayo busisa essimu yo osasule eyo ye Momo obwo bwe buyinza obukufuula abasingako.
All the taste you want in a beer. Rich, silky, delicious, Guinness, smooth. Now with a daring new look. As bold and vibrant as you. Guinness Smooth. Make it yours.
bulijjo okusobola okutuusako ebifudde gy'otobadde kitwetaagisa okwetegeka okw'enjawulo
nga kulimu n'okwewunda tujja okusimbula nga ddala weewaawo abasasi baffe tetubava ku lusegere nga wamma twetegereza ebyo bye basase
tusobole okubikutuusaako nga ddala naffe tusoose kubikubaganyaako birowoozo
bwe tuba tweteekateeka tufuba naffe ng'abaga kusomera okwongera okwogiwaza obwongo bwaffe
nga tuyita mu kwongera okunoonyereza ku ebyo abasasi baffe bye baleese obifune nga tetukyabirinako yadde akabuuza oba akakunkuna
nga tukozesa tekinologiya omujja n'abakugu okunyumisa ekyo kye tukola
okuva ku bbalaza okutuuka olwokuna tuba naawe mu NTV akawungeezi
olw'okuva olwokutaano okutuuka ku Sande NTV ku ssawemu n'ekwata busoomo okulambika
nga Uganda eyogera nga amaloboozi g'ebyobufuzi gasaanikidde buli wamu omulimu gwaffe gwa kuwuliriza n'okusengejja n'obwegendereza
amazima gwe musingi ogutuwaniridde buli kyogerwa tetukyekenneenya buli muwendo tusooka kuguwewula okuggyayo amakulu gaagwo.
Okusukako ebyo byogerwa mu campaign tugenda kubatalaga ebitundu ebyenjawulo nga twekenneenya oba nga ddala enteekateeka za gavumenti zikyusa engeri abantu gye balondamu n'okutuukiriza ebyetaago by'ebitundu ebyo ng'atolekera akalulu ka 2026.
Buli katikiti kankizo buli bibalibwa bya nsonga awo weeweesigire omusasi waffe asukka waakoma.
Ebifo ebironderwamu nga bigaddwa obululu nga bubaliddwa tusigala nga ffe emmeeza eyesigika okutuusaako ebyo ebitali mu kuteebereza.
olwo ne tukuwa amawulire nga bwe gabadde obutuufu bwago.
Okumanya kwo n'okutegeera kwo kye kiruubirirwa kyaffe.
NTV News, the full story, the trusted voice, and uncompromised.
Welcome to NTV Travels, the ultimate travel destination for new and exciting destinations around Uganda, the Pearl of Africa.
I feel like I am on the Titanic right now.
A country that is blessed with amazing fauna and flora.
We are on our way to the day game drive. My team has been awake for some time. We are taking over Queen Elizabeth National Park.
So heavy! Explore the vibrant culture of bustling cities.
Abambarara Murimuta. We are on our way to Rubirizi district. We are in Ibanda district. Shout out to my lovely hometown Soroti. I am in Jinja currently with my entire team. We are here to conquer every part of Uganda. We finally made it to Lake Nkugute.